Hello guys. So I am back from my whole rest week and today we're talking about a brand new series called What If Deku Gave Up on Being a Hero? So judging from the thumbnail, I'm gonna be basing it off, or at least Izuku is going to be working with the SCP Foundation, also known as the Secure, Contain and Protect Foundation. So yeah. So let us begin. So, we start off our story in, the perspective of the SCP Foundation, where they're in Mexico. That, well, apparently some sort of weird anomaly has been happening over there in Mexico. Apparently, there was a bright light near a Mayan, temple. When some, SC Foundation members arrived, when they arrived at the scene and gone deeper and deeper and deeper into the temple, they found a large sword with the head of the feathered serpent, also known as Quetzalcoatl, one of the four gods, or at least famous gods of Mayan mythology, said to be the brother of I think his name was wait for a sec. Huitzilopochtli. Yeah. Also known as the god of war and blood and sacrifice. So, after grabbing this weird blade, the blade, serpent like head, or at least hilt, opened up as it showed a weird looking green gem. As when the D class personnel basically tried to control this blade, well something happened to him. He grows powerful claws, almost greenish. His head starts growing into like a serpent like head with, instead of his hair being normally hair, it's feathers. His back starts changing as it grows colorful, rainbow wings as he starts flying off. So, the SCP Foundation basically goes and follows him as one of them shoots him down and kills him. So, they decide to, classify this, SCP as a dangerous one. So, they put it in Japan because it's the Japan branch of, the SCP Foundation, I guess. So, after bringing it to Japan and putting it in a, special contained facility, well, they decide to call this, weapon the Blade of the Feathered Serpent. So, yeah, this happened like a few years ago, by the way. So, yeah, let's go into present day. So, Izuku was born from, that D class personnel, which was, Izuku's father, and, Izuku's mother, Inko. Izuku was half, sort of American. I mean, his father is technically more Mexican, but Izuku prefers to just be called just pure Japanese most of the time. Izuku was bullied, just like in canon, but Izuku really didn't take it well. Izuku was bullied, including by his so-called best friend, Bakugo, and it was not helping that he had a special quirk, which was an explosion quirk, which he used to torture and mortify him. And was not helping that last time he literally tried to drown him in the toilet. So, after a few days have gone by, it's, let's just say their final day of school. So, wait for a sec. So, Izuku, was still being bullied as the teacher arrives as he says this. Alright, 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 alright. Everybody settle down. Alright, it seems that some of you people are gonna be joined to UA. And one of them is Bakugo Katsuki. As Bakugo basically stands up and goes onto his, well, basically um just just sits up on his like chair, basically like going on top of his desk and says this: "Yes, I'm gonna become the number one hero, unlike you B-listers." As everybody started, well, bashing on Bakugo, saying that, well, that he's, even though he has a powerful quirk, it doesn't mean that he's better than everybody. Until Bakugo, well, saw Izuku leaving, as Bakugo uses his, a pencil, and uses it to stab Izuku's, um, wait for a second. He uses the pencil and basically launches it with, well, his explosion, causing it to stab into his, well, the back of his leg. As everybody started laughing, Izuku wasn't happy. Izuku never wanted to join UA, so he, well, decided to not become a hero. So, Izuku goes into that back alleyway where he's about to be attacked by the sludge villain. Izuku, just like in canon, gets captured by the sludge villain as, well, All Might saves him just like in canon. But unlike in canon, well, Izuku doesn't, wait for a second. Because Izuku doesn't like heroes at all. He doesn't even like All Might at all. So that's why Izuku didn't, follow him just like in canon. So, Izuku, after, getting back home, Izuku, well, he goes into his room and locks the door, crying, saying, You, you God, why did you give me this stupid life? You could have just never created me in the first place. Why you just made my life a living hellscape? It's not helping that this society cares only about quirks. Izuku stops crying. Izuku says this. Enough crying. I'll be doing something much more important. So, Izuku starts going off to, eat dinner. As in eat dinner, just grabbing his dinner and just start eating in his room. Because Izuku and his mother were, well, pretty much distant. Because of that, well, they never ever talk. Because of Izuku's, dad being killed in his, job at the SCP Foundation, after all. So, Izuku was eating dinner. Izuku sees something unusual. Black vans appeared with the acronym SCP. Izuku really didn't know that foundation before. Or, anything that has like that particular, acronym at all. So, several men appeared with, well, well, guns. Izuku was afraid. Thought that Izuku thought that they were basically like the FBI or something. Izuku was completely afraid, thinking that they're probably going to kill like some sort of like drug dealer down the street or something. But Izuku heard something that shocked him to the core. Izuku heard a scream, and it sounded just like his mother. As Izuku was, scared out of his mind, he starts, going down into his bed and starts hiding, thinking that it's probably them. Izuku thinks in his mind that they're probably like villains or something. Izuku starts crying, praying for his life. So wait for a second. While he was cowering and, praying for his life to be spared, Izuku hears gunshots. And more gunshots. And more gunshots until there was no more. So, after that, Izuku was, well, still terrified, thinking that they're still there, as Izuku hears footsteps. Izuku was looking under his bed as when the footsteps stop at his room, bang! A big, well, explosion appears. Not basically like a large explosion. Izuku sees a shirtless man with metal arms, with several tattoos, and long hair, and a big sword. Says this. Alright, men, try and find any civilians that are still alive here. As one of them being a man with that weird, well, acronym on his shoulder, the SCP, the, well, Foundation, basically. As Izuku also sees that one of them also had like a symbol. As, well, the, well, member said this. I think we found one. As the man with the man with the several tattoos and the sword said this. Hello, kid. Sorry, your mother, she didn't survive. Izuku started crying. Izuku says this. Are you serious? I thought my life was already a living hellscape. As the man says this. Kid. How about this, kid? Call me Abel. I'll help you in your, well, in your whole situation. I'll be your foster father. Izuku says this. What? As he says this. Yes, I'm really sorry about that. I'm really sorry about your loss. So, I will train you, or I'll just at least, like, protect you for now, or Izuku says this. Get away from me, you heroes. As the man, aka Abel, says this. Heroes? Izuku says this. Yeah, are you some sort of hero or something? You didn't save me. You didn't save my mother. I no longer consider you heroes. As heroes. I consider you as money grubbing scum. As Abel says this. But we're not heroes. As Izuku says this. Stop lying. As one of them being a man with a, well, with a pretty large gun, says this. We aren't. We're known as the SCP Foundation. Because you saw this, well, this whole situation, you're now permitted to be, well, trained in the SCP Foundation. Izuku says this. What if I refuse? As one of them gets ready to shoot Izuku, Izuku says this. Fair enough. Fine, I'll join your whatever it is. As... What, for a second, wait. Sorry about that. So, after a while, Izuku, well, decided to, well, go and live with, well, Abel, which I searched up and I was wrong. He didn't have, like, metal arms. That was his brother Kane. Sorry about that. So, Abel, after bringing him to the the SCP Foundation, the, well, the first branch, which is the one in, well, I think it was America or something. I'm still pretty new to, like, the SCP Foundation. I mean, I used to do, I used to watch, like, SCP sometimes back in the day, but it's, I'm still a bit rusty, basically. So, after getting to the SCP Foundation, well, Izuku was trained in how to fight. even given a SCP, which was called SCP-003, also known as the Blade of the Feathered Serpent. So, yeah, that will be the end of the video. So, yeah, so I hope you like it, and I hope you like the video. Comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye.